It was amazing. Actually, we've been in Lacey for a couple weeks, or a couple days, I mean, already. So we drove down at midnight, and that worked out just adorably. So traffic's a lot better.
At midnight, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Staying awake isn't, but.
So tonight, I set up, I actually made a little flyer. I was so excited about the theme that I made up a flyer, but I didn't get it done until Sunday, so maybe people haven't seen it yet. But it was amazing, and I called tonight's theme Story Time with Mitch Nelson. So tonight the theme is all about time and time travel. Now, I just wanted to start with this point. Storytelling, as far as current, modern science and trends, storytelling is the state of the art in time travel. That's it. It's the best we've got, is storytelling. So, case in point, maybe some of you remember North's Chuck Wagon up on the west side. Pretty nice little buffet type place. My mom came to visit, and we went over there to North's Chuck Wagon one day. And as we walked in, my mom said the strangest thing. She said, "What if we prefer they use a scoop like everyone else?" And I thought, oh my gosh. And I started looking around. I was already halfway giggling because I already knew this is my mom's sense of humor. She's found something hilarious. And so I look frantically around, and sure enough, proudly on every single table it said, "We serve hand-dipped ice cream." And my mom said, of course, "What if we want them to use a scoop?" So this, I was ready for this because my mom trained us kids that way. That's how she taught us to be aware of the world and how to pay attention to everything, and to look around quickly, and to catch up if you need to. So it taught us to be curious, basically, and there you go. That's, to this day, all of my best friends, the ones that I keep the closest with, are curious people. They want to learn more. They're trying to figure something out always. They're curious about life. So, all right, so we all went back just a couple years with me to that story. So let's try a harder jump. We're going to time travel now back to 1666. The Black Plague is in full swing in Europe. It's really scaring people. And they have shut down Cambridge University. I'm pretty sure it's Cambridge, but they've shut down all the universities to try to keep everyone away from each other so they don't spread it. And my friend Isaac was there. And he had to go out to the country. So his mom, thankfully, owned and operated a pretty big orchard and had a big farm out in the country. And so he went out there. And I originally heard this story as a kid. There was an apple that hit Isaac on the head. But it turns out it didn't hit him on the head. He was out. He wrote this story himself. I found out maybe it was with the help of a friend. But he said he was out in a contemplative mood, and he saw the apple fall. And that tree still exists, I found out too, because I'm curious. See? So I chased that one down. No. But the apple did fall. And he got curious in his contemplative mood. He thought to himself, all right, now, if you want a rock to move across the field, something has to be pushing on that rock for it to move. It doesn't, rocks don't just move across fields. Something, and so he called that a force. He was like, there has to be a force acting on that rock. And so then he thought, well, all right, what is acting on that apple? And why does it go straight down? And so he was thinking about that and thinking about that. He's got his curiosity up again. And so he kept pondering that and started to talk to his friends about it. And then he remembered at that time it was a new theory from Galileo and Copernicus that the earth was round. And he thought, So in France, when the apple falls straight down, and over here and way down in South America, the apple's always falling straight down. But then he thought, well, if the earth is round, that would actually mean that the apple is always falling towards the center of the earth. So what is it about the center of the earth that's doing that? So he kept talking to his friends, and they started measuring things. They started measuring how fast things fall, how far they fall, how fast they go. And they came up with this whole theory about gravity. And they made calculations, they figured all this out. They had to actually come up with a new type of math called calculus to help do some of the calculations regarding this gravity stuff. But they never really figured out what it was. They got really good at measuring things with it. It was amazing. They actually realized that this gravity is it acts on everything, way out in space. Like they think that, they started realizing, wow, the sun must be huge. That's how it holds the earth close to it, but not so huge that it pulls it into it. And so he thought, as they started looking farther and further out, they saw Uranus. And they thought, okay, well, according to what we know, Uranus should be following such and such a path. And it would jiggle every so often. It would go off the path they thought it would. And they said, ooh, I bet there's something out there affecting that. And sure enough, sooner than later, they found the next planet, Neptune. And they thought, wow, look at that. Newton was right all along. And for 300 years. 300 years. So see, now we're going to jump again. Are you ready? Whoa. Albert is thinking still about gravity, because after these 300 years of measuring and getting everything just right, they still didn't know what gravity was. And Albert was thinking, what is this stuff? And he couldn't figure it out. And we still can't figure it out. Albert had some great theories too, relativity, and he said that gravity isn't anything at all, really. It's the whole space and time are bending and shifting around heavy objects. And so things just go the way they go because of the shift, because of the bends in time and space. So, yeah, wondering still what gravity was, that first question. And the thing about science stories, though, is they're almost always cliffhangers, so sorry about that. Maybe you'll have to figure out what gravity is. All right, so time travel. Time travel is a lot of fun. But one of the other things that these stories come from next, the next couple stories, aren't so real. They're stuff that I made up from a lifetime. I've always loved science fiction stories, reading, and so as I'm reading these science fiction stories, I've had tons of different, I call them random thoughts. Like, why is this way? What's going on here? And what would happen if? And so the next couple stories are kind of about that. So, I was born with arthrogryposis. That's what makes my wrists bend. It made my feet bend when I was younger, but they knew how to fix that. It has affected my body the way it has. It's why I'm the way I am right now, physically. It didn't affect my mind. It doesn't do anything with my mind and my heart and my soul. All of that is pretty normal stuff. I feel love, I care, I can communicate really well with other people, I think I am right now. So, but because of the disability and because my heart and soul were normal, I could actually see, I don't ever know what to call it. People weren't scared, but when they first see me, they were wary. People are wary of me. Whoa. It's because I'm different. I didn't take it personal. I never have. I'm different. I know I'm different. I know I look different. I know other people that feel like they look different have the same problem. So it's not me. It's just human nature. And so I started to come up with different ways of doing things. I wanted to make them feel comfortable. Wanted to make them, feel okay. Like, don't worry, I'm okay. I'm pretty cool. And so one of the ways that I did that was when I was walking to school, I would whistle tunes. Because I thought, hey, that'll help people realize that A, I'm usually in a good mood, and B, I am cultured. I'm intelligent. You can't whistle a classical music tune without knowing a few. And so that was good. That worked out pretty well. People would kind of saw me. I could see it, and I could see that it worked. That's why I kept it up. So the other thing though is if people made jokes, or if I kind of heard, I was a pretty good listener, and I was really good, like I said, from my mom at paying attention. And so I could pay attention really well. And so if I heard people kind of snickering as I walked by, I would do the thing my mom taught me, and I'd pay attention real close. And I'd try to hear the next thing they said and the next one, because if one person makes them laugh, everyone's going to try to one-up them, and I'm going to, Well, I got really good. I got really good at one-upping everybody. My sense of humor was just amazing off the rocks. I could make fun of myself better than anybody else. How my hands look like whatever. How they look like little baby wings, or how they look like, how my whole body, the way I walk, looks like a T-Rex right now. Just anything. Just make fun of myself. And people loved that. People get worried when they think they've offended you, but if they realize you're having fun with them, then it settles them down, calms them down. So the other thing though, the other big thing that has made, that the disability has done for me, is I have this huge desire to be useful. Because it's hard, because things are hard for me. Like, I have to look around to find places to be useful. The first thing I have to do is stay out of the way, because sometimes I'll get in and think I'm trying to help, and people are like, you're just slowing down everything, dude. You gotta, and I feel bad, and I'm like, all right. But then I look around again, and I find usually somewhere to be helpful. A lot of times it's just spending time with people. I had a friend that I rode the school bus with once, and she was getting just harassed by the bullies one day. They were telling her she was stupid and she was ugly and just terrible stuff. So I did my thing. I stood up. I said, hey, knock it off. She's smart. She's good. She could figure it out. Math is a skill. It's something you practice at. She could do any math she wanted. She could do any science she wanted. She could do whatever she wanted if she put her heart into it. And the people shut up. It was cool. I felt useful that day. And there was another day. There's sometimes when I failed at this really bad. There was one day when I was walking down the hall on a hall pass, so it was just me down the hall, or so I thought. And then I saw this kid, and I knew he was kind of a troublemaker kid. And his friends in the gang that he hung out with, they were after him, and they were laughing at him. And I started doing the thing. Listen, okay, what's going on? And he goes, no, I don't care what you guys say. I'm going back to class, and I'm going to start getting my grades back. I'm going to fix this. And I thought, good job, dude. You could do it. And his friends laughed at him, and they just left. And I thought, I need to go help that guy. And for whatever reason, I never followed through. And I worry about that all the time. And so nowadays, if people have even half a request for help, I try to be there if I can, because that one guy made me realize I got to be there. That's one thing I'm good at. So that's how life has been for me. Always trying to help people, always trying to get out there. So, or, now this is a big or, because I was born normal. Everything worked great. In fact, I looked amazing. I was the hottest dude around and the cutest little kid. And I got everything I wanted. I begged for things all the time. Pets around our house never had a chance. They would always come, and they would always disappear. I don't know where those guys went. I promise I don't know where they went. Yeah. And so then when I got into school, same thing. Had little friends that came along all the time. It was so much fun to pick on those kids. The little guys, they didn't know any better. I was picking on them all the time. Oh, it was awesome. It was so fun. And it got worse and worse, and I had this little group around me, and we were bullying all the kids in school. It was just amazing. And I could talk myself out of trouble all the time. It was awesome because I was perfect. I looked good. I felt good. I was confident. That was the thing. So confident. And the teachers were like, no, he's too nice. He's not doing that stuff. You guys are overreacting. Or whatever. I don't know how I got out of so much trouble. But in college, same thing. Got my little group of friends together, and we found this guy. We found this dude, and we were teasing him. We took him right to the edge of the top of the roof of a building. We were teasing him so bad. We pushed him right to the edge, and I didn't even know what came over me. But all of a sudden, I just let go, and he fell all the way down. I was like, oh my gosh. And I thought, wow, I'm going to get in trouble for this one. There's no getting out of this one. And the next day, there was a big story about a guy that committed suicide. I was like, what? Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I wonder if I could do it again. And so I did. I did it again. I murdered another guy. And I murdered a girl. And I murdered another guy. And then I thought, wow, I can be friends with these guys first. It worked so amazing. I would be friends with them, and then all of a sudden they would just disappear. Be gone. I was having so much fun. And then when I was I spent a whole lifetime. I had this whole chain behind me of unsolved mysteries. And I thought, one time that I found this girl, and I thought, same thing. Yes, this is going to be amazing. But I was 50 now. And I don't know what happened that time. I was about ready to push her down the stairwell. And then I thought, if I do this, I'm not going to be able to talk to her tomorrow. And I actually really like talking to her. She's really nice. So yeah, truly, finally, for whatever reason, I don't know why it took so long, but I fell in love. And the weirdest thing, as soon as I fell in love, I felt the hurt of what I had done to all those other people, all those other friends. Somebody somewhere was not going to be able to talk to that dude that I pushed off the first time. Felt so bad. I had no, and here I'm 50. How am I going to go back? How do I fix this? What am I going to do? And then I started just reading psychology mostly. Just kind of got into psychology because I was depressed all the time, trying to figure out how to fix all this. And I ran across this article about this weird little experiment. It's the funniest little experiment. So these guys, they took the subjects, the people that are being experimented on, and they took them into a room, and they blindfolded them, and then they said, we're handing you dice. Just one dice, a normal dice, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just roll it 12 times. And they said, that's it? Yeah, just roll it. We're going to take care of everything else. We're going to write down what the answers were, everything like that, just the dice. And so they did, 12 times, rolled the dice, each of these subjects. 2 weeks later, they take the same subjects into a room, and they interview them. And they say, remember when you were rolling the dice? We want you to concentrate hard, and we want you to focus, and we want you to set what the numbers were on each of those dice. Not tell us what you think it was. We're not saying that. We want you to actually focus on changing and making each of those dice what you tell us that number is going to be. So if you say, so let's say if you want it to be 5, I want you to just concentrate and say the first roll was a 5. The first roll was a 5. And then decide consciously what the next roll is. 12 times, do that. And so they did, and they wrote down what they told them that it was, and they had some time concentrating what it was. And wouldn't you know it, it was more than statistically probable what those dice were rolled. And the researchers decided that it had to mean that you can change potentially random events from the past in the future. if that makes sense. Like these guys were 2 weeks later affecting a role that they had thrown 2 weeks before. It was cool. He was really impressed with that. And then, because I was still just my curious self, I had taken anatomy. And one of the statements the guy made right when we were doing the random events, how much of a miracle it was that a normal kid ever came out of a woman's body. Like that was just a miracle, because so many random things at the right time, at the right place, at the wrong time could cause a disability, could actually cause the whole thing to flush out. It could, anything could go wrong. And so I put those two together one night. I woke up. I was like 60, and I put those two together, and I started concentrating. I thought, wow, okay, all right. So if I concentrate just right, because there's some good things. I love about myself that I'm friendly, and now I'm pretty